Well, this is the news that greeted me when I opened the Guardian this morning. Rouen's cathedral spire catches fire in Normandy. It just caught fire, did it? Yeah, it just suddenly spontaneously combusted, I suppose. Yeah. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Okay, this is a very quick video which I'm making because I just saw this piece of news in The Guardian. It says here, Rouen's cathedral spire catches fire in Normandy. Plumes of smoke seen rising from the cathedral, one of France's finest, which was painted by Claude Monet. I'm assuming they mean that the spire was not painted by Claude Monet. Pictures, Monet made pictures of the spire. So here's what was going on. Quite an awful sight, isn't it? Yeah, and for some reason that reminds me of the famous photos of the Twin Towers. Spire of the Gothic cathedral in the French city of Rouen in Normandy caught fire during renovation works on Thursday, in scenes reminiscent of the fire at Notre Dame in Paris in 2019. Obviously they don't know who's done it, but the fact is the spire has had scaffolding around it for quite a while, and somebody could have got up there, I suppose, relatively easily and deliberately set fire to the spire. Now, who might have done that? I'm sure that most of us would have immediately assumed that there's at least an 80% chance that it was a Muslim bent on some insult to Christianity. And I think it's a reasonable assumption that there's a better than even chance that it's Muslim vandalism, because many Muslims have said that's what they want to do to the Christian world. They want to bring it down. So setting fire to churches is one way of doing it. There's a church in London unaccountably burst into flames. St John's Wood, I've forgotten. It was some sort of a historic church. Terrible thing. And yeah. So there's a problem here, because we have this constantly in our minds. I mean, if a church burst into flames maybe 30 years ago, the first thing we'd have thought of would have been some sort of electrical fault. It wouldn't have occurred to us that anyone would have actually started a fire. But now we have this in our brains, that we are vulnerable to arson from people who wish to burn the whole of our Western civilization down. Now, that doesn't mean that every Muslim who is living in the West wants to do that, but there is a substantial group who do, and are quite open about it. And not only is it not right that governments aren't addressing this, it is not healthy for us to have this in our minds. This is our home. We don't expect things to burst into flames in our home because there's a guest in our home that we don't really know. He's just taken up residence. And it's not good for our psyche, our collective psyche. And I find this whole thing very upsetting. A jewel of French medieval Gothic architecture, the cathedral dates to the 12th century and was repeatedly painted. Again, pictures of it were painted by the Impressionist artist Claude Monet in the 19th century. Fire in the wooden frame of the roof caused devastating damage to the world-famous Notre Dame. Well, they're going through it. They also point out here Fire also engulfed Copenhagen's old stock exchange, one of the Danish capital's most historic landmarks, in April, toppling its spire. Large parts of the outer walls also later collapsed. I didn't even know about that. But we do have to consider the possibility that, as well as spending our tax on maintaining people who call themselves refugees but who are not actually refugees, we are spending our tax on repairing buildings that some of them might feel inclined to damage. And this is something we all know, and something which our governors and betters refuse to acknowledge. I am not suggesting that for this reason we should go about attacking Muslims. Of course, that's nonsense. And what we have to do, though, is make it easier for Muslims who have no wish to destroy our civilization to report people who do, and then for us to act on these reports instead of ignoring them, instead of pretending that everything's all right. Okay, well, Rouen Mayor Nicolas Meyer-Rossignol posted on X, "The beginning of a fire is underway on the spire. The origin is unknown at this stage. All public resources are mobilised." I wish them luck. I hope they can stop the fire before it causes too much damage, and that they can manage to repair it properly. Yeah, but it's sort of a bit miserable, isn't it? It's not only miserable that it's happened, but it's miserable because of how it's changing the way we think. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by clicking like, by subscribing, by clicking the notification bell, and by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels are in the description, also links to donation sites, but really the best way you can help me is simply by clicking like. Thank you.